Hi, my name's Russell Pearson. Today we're going to be talking about same-sex marriage. Welcome to the Marketing Report. Okay, before we get started, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Am I growing a beard? I'm flirting with the idea. Let me know. Do you want to see me grow this out, or do you want me to shave it completely right now, right this moment? Let me know at the marketing report at russellpearson.com.au. But now on to the more important and more serious subject of the day. Today in Australia, this week in Australia, the politicians finally passed the law to allow same-sex marriage. This seems like something that should have happened a hell of a long time ago, but this week it was passed, so we are moving forward. But what was interesting about this week was the political landscape. Watching people flip-flop around this issue and actually look at, the subject of brand trust and whether people have increased or decreased their brand trust through this process. So you've got this tiny little minority of politicians who've always said we should be for same-sex marriage. They're in the winner's circle today, which means that they have increased and strengthened their brand trust. They have been consistent in their message, they've been consistent in their actions, and because they are winners, they're going to simply draw people to them. So they've strengthened their position in the political landscape. Then you've got the majority of politicians who didn't really say one thing or another and have now jumped into the winner's circle saying, we've always supported same-sex marriage, when in actual fact they haven't necessarily. We're now in this social economy where we can go back and look at what people have said in the past. There are transcripts of just about everything, whether it be video or text or even audio, of what people had as their position only a week ago. So those people are on shaky ground. People will have a look at whether this was something they were always for, whether this is something they've potentially been against in the past, and now they're potentially in this flip-flopping scenario. So they're on shaky ground. Then you've got two other groups. You've got the people who abstained, so they didn't vote. They literally sat on the fence. Those people are on quicksand. Their supporter base doesn't know whether they support the proposition or whether they're against it. They haven't said one thing or another, and I guess in a political space have shown weakness. So they're likely going to be losing support because the supporter base doesn't know how to trust them because they're not being consistent in their message. They're not being consistent in their actions, and they're not leading by making a decision. Then you've got what might be a little bit controversial, but then you've got this tiny little group of politicians, I think there's just 4 of them, who've said no to the proposition. So they voted no to allowing same-sex marriage. Now, while I'm not necessarily in the camp of saying that was a great idea for them to say no to the proposition, it was a great idea for them to say no, for them to strengthen their supporter base. Every single one of these politicians has a supporter base that is in the majority no camp. They've been consistent in their message about no, although here's an example from Bob Catter that's a little bit left of centre.
People are entitled to their sexual proclivities. Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned. But I ain't spending any time on it because in the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
Clearly not a supporter for same-sex marriage. And by him saying no and by the others saying no in that scenario, they've actually kept consistent in their actions and their conversations. And with their supporter base, they've, I believe, built brand trust, believe it or not. So that's a little bit controversial. But at the end of the day, people who've said consistently yes, building brand trust. People who've said consistently no, building brand trust. Those that have flip-flopped in the middle aren't really growing their supporter base, and those that have abstained from voting altogether, I would be willing to say will be losing support through the political space. So, same-sex marriage, what's your opinion? I'd love to hear it. You can get to me at marketingreport at russellpearson.com.au. Send all your questions there, send all your opinions there. I'd love your opinion on same-sex marriage, about what the politicians have done, on my beard and whether I should be growing it out or not. Send everything there, and also consider what you're doing around brand trust for your own market. Are you being consistent? Are your actions backing up the words that you're saying to the market? That's what brand consistency and what brand trust is all about. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. My name's been Russell Pearson and this has been The Marketing Report. Another big thank you to Crimson Fox Creative Studios for sponsoring this episode. You can visit them at www.crimsonfox.com.au.
Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom.